Hello my dear friends, my name is Harold and welcome to the Sanctum. So in this video I'm going to talk a little bit more about 5 energies that we as human beings have within ourselves. And in the yogic tradition, these are called the Pancha Prana, or the 5 energies, or the 5 Vayus, or the 5 winds. And these are 5 energies that we have present within our body. And various yogic practices and kriyas or whatever it is that you're practicing can generate this particular kind of energy. And we could have different imbalances within ourselves that lead to various physical symptoms and problems that we have within ourselves or even in our lives. So let me now give you a quick breakdown of these 5 energies. Now the first energy, or the first Vayu, is called prana vayu. So the word prana means breath. Now each of the 5 energies have a particular direction of flow. So prana vayu is associated with the breath and moves inward and upward. So the movement of the energy is inward and upward, and it's directly associated with our breath, and is located near the chest and lungs area. It's associated with that because that is where our breath moves towards. So it's inward and there. So even if you look at, so when you do any kind of practice like pranayama, certain pranayamas will bring in this particular energy because it's ruled by inhalation. So also if you look at death, when a person dies, the 5 energies leave their body. The first energy to leave is their breath. Because how do you know somebody's dead? First of all, their breath stops. They stop breathing. So that is their prana vayu leaving the body. The second is apana vayu. So the movement of apana vayu is associated with going downward and outward. So downward and outward, out of the body. So apana vayu, first of all, controls excretion, removing things from your body, as well as it's associated with the nervous structure in your body. So what I mean by that is to move your hands, the energy that's used to allow your brain to communicate through your sensory and motor neurons to allow you to sense the reality, to feel, as well as to move your hands about and your body about, is done through what we call apana vayu. Okay, so even at the point of death, after the breath leaves, if you've been in the presence of somebody who's just very recently passed, the breath stops, but you may notice that there might be slight twitches still going on even though the person is dead. In their hands they might have a few twitches. This is because the apana is now leaving. So that sensory and motor energy is now leaving, and that may lead to slight movements and twitches in the body even after a person has been declared dead. Samana vayu is the third vayu, associated with the heat of the body. Okay, so it is also associated with our digestion and our digestive fire. And the movement of this prana is from the periphery into the center, right? Into the center. So this is where, if you've ever done these practices like Kapalabhati or fire, breath of fire, and these practices that cause heat in your body, it's generating this samana vayu. So it's generating this heat energy. Now even at the point of death, a person's breath stops, the apana leaves and the body becomes still, and then what happens? The heat in the body begins to dissipate and the body becomes cold. So that is the warmth that tells us that we're alive. That vital, warmed, robust, healthy energy comes from our samana. The fourth energy is udana vayu. So udana controls the buoyancy of the body, that feeling of lightness that you have. Okay, but it also is associated with your expression, your ability to express. So the movement of the energy is upwards. Udana moves upwards and also is associated with spiritual elevation, so going up. So if you want to go up in every sense of the word, you would focus on the cultivation of Udana, which is where in all these stories and of meditating Himalayan masters able to like levitate come into being, because they are practitioners that draw in a lot of Udana Vayu, creating buoyancy in the body, giving them the ability to float. So this Udana Vayu, even if you look at it in terms of death, the breath leaves, the body stops moving, the heat leaves the body, and then what? The body becomes hard and thick and sticky, and the body loses buoyancy. If you take somebody who's alive and put them in water, what happens? They'll float. But if you take a dead body and put it in water, what'll happen? It'll sink. So the buoyancy is gone. So that is the Udana Vayu. And then finally, the last Vayu is what we call Vyana Vayu. So the movement of Vyana Vayu is outward but expansive in nature. It's the expansive energy. So this is the energy that holds the mind and body together as one. It's also the energy that holds our entire body structure together, our skin together, our muscles together, our bones together. It keeps the entire structure of our body together, right? And this is where, even if you look at death, what's the final thing that happens? When a person dies, the body starts to rot. It starts to fall away. Everything starts to fall. So the skin starts to melt away and fade away. The muscles begin to decompose. The whole body begins to fall apart. That is associated with Vyana and the loss of Vyana. This is where also certain snake venom, if somebody gets bitten by a certain snake, that venom can cause them to lose the Vyana Vayu, causing their skin and their nose to start falling off, a little bit similar to even leprosy. When somebody has leprosy, parts of the body start to fall off and the skin falls off and things like this. This is because Vyana is being released from the body. So you can see now how we have these 5 energies in the body and how they're working to keep us in good health, in balance, and in inner power, and striving towards spiritual elevation. So balancing and working with the Pancha Prana and the Pancha Vayu is very important, because it can help you move closer and closer to a state of equilibrium and move towards spiritual elevation. So I hope you found this video interesting. I hope it was informative. If it was, please give it a like, subscribe, share it with all your friends, and I shall see you in the next video. Peace.